I thought at our age life would slow down.
Not with everything we need to coordinate.
My overtime, his basketball league,
My podiatrist and her PT.
his colonoscopy.
Her allergist.
We need to be in 2 places at once, which is no problem, because the Iowa Clinic has over 40 specialties all in one place. So when our doctors want to coordinate our care, they just talk to each other.
Our doctors work together to figure out the best care for us, so we can go back to our busy lives, juggling our doctors, our careers.
Our grandchild.
Care how you want it. Visit iowaclinic.com.
All right, what's up, everybody? Connor Ferguson and Rob Gray here for the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. Again, we're brought to you by the Iowa Clinic and the ISU Foundation today. Rob, just got done watching the Daytona 500, but a really, really big Iowa State game tonight. Probably the biggest regular season game they've played since 2001 at the very least. What are your thoughts coming into this?
Just exciting, right? That, they move up 4 spots in the rankings. It's almost a top 5 matchup against a team that just dominates at home in Houston, and certainly a team that doesn't really have a weakness. And if Iowa State has a weakness, maybe it's free throw shooting every other game. But it's just going to be a lot of fun. The biggest stage, Big Monday growing up was kind of the coolest deal for me. I think they'd have games at 6, 8, and 10, so I'd get to watch like St. Mary's take on the Gauchos of Cal Santa Barbara. But,
I didn't know they had triple headers back in the day for that. When I was growing up, it was 6 and 8, so it was always like a Big Ten or an SEC game, and then right into.
I feel like they did that unless they did it on a Tuesday or something. But it's appointment viewing on Big Monday, and I don't think it's lost its luster. And here we go. I mean, 2 elite defensive teams that are going to beat the crap out of each other before a very large, I would think, national TV audience, and a lot on the line in terms of outright first place in the Big 12, and a lot to play for still. But boy, if Iowa State could somehow go in and sweep this team, holy cow, I guess would just be my reaction. I'm sorry, I'm loss of words in describing what that would mean.
Yeah, man, I live for these days, especially with that race and just sports going on in general and all this stuff going on. It's really busy. It's tough sometimes, but this is just the hype coming into this is fantastic. I saw 3 different people tweet the same video out of it's like overseas basketball, but you don't dribble and you can like tackle and push people and stuff. And they said that's what this game is going to be like tonight. And I'm really excited to watch it. As someone noted, I think it was Chris on Iowa Everywhere, but Houston hasn't won a Big 12 home game this year by less than 15 points, or I should say a home game all year. I'm pretty sure. The tremendous home court advantage for Houston. Iowa State's obviously a 10-point underdog. But yeah, as you said, if Iowa State can somehow come into this one and pull it out, that will be a really, really massive deal. And I think one advantage Iowa State has coming into this, especially if you're a fan of TJ Otzelberger, right? After you've seen a team for 40 minutes, you got a tremendously more on them on film because you've seen them play your team. You've seen what they've done to you. You've seen how they were able to mount that comeback after you got out to a 14-0 lead. I think that's at the very least a positive for Iowa State coming into this.
Yeah, and I think the line, at least what I was looking at on FanDuel Sportsbook, came down to 8.5. Which means you probably a bunch of casual people are saying, "Ooh, that's a big line for number 2 versus number 6," without doing a deep dive. Just say, no, but Iowa State, so it could be a better game than that, right? It's going to be tough to stay within single digits of this team. I mean, you look at matchups. I mean, Jamal Sheed. I mean, that guy is their Taman Lipsey. I mean, just one of the leaders in the country, steals wise. I mean, that guard court is so good. Iowa State's is really good too. But L.J. Cryer, we know him from Baylor, hasn't shot. I mean, he's their best 3-point shooter, but hasn't shot maybe a percentage that he's used to. And they're not tremendous 3-point shooters, but boy, they could have got guys who can finish in the interior like Francis and Roberts off the bench. I mean, and so can the guards. I mean, they can all get to the rack just like Lipsey can for the Cyclones. Gilbert, Curtis Jones with his floater. So it's just going to be really fun to watch both the front court and the back court. But I think the front court is where this game's going to be won. If Iowa State can avoid getting killed on the boards, and they can keep Hassan Ward out of foul trouble, which I think would play a big factor in that. Again, I think it's potentially a game that they keep it close, and who knows, maybe have a shot to go and steal what would be otherworldly resume building one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Crier's at 38% this year. So
39,
38.5. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, if you can find a way to disrupt them, the big reason Iowa State had that first half lead is they forced 13 turnovers in that first half. They only forced 3 in the second. And that was a big reason why Houston came back, is it wasn't Iowa State taking their foot off the gas. I still don't think that's an issue, although we've seen teams kind of close up big leads a little bit. As Rob said on Saturday, I think you and I both kind of thought that Kansas State came back into that game on their own, or I said Kansas State instead of Texas Tech, on their own fruition. And someone asked Rob Jones, said they played good today. And Rob said, "You think we played good? You think we played good? Okay, we'll take it."
That's the paraphrase. Yeah. I think it was asked that they didn't take the foot off the gas. You thought we didn't take the foot off the gas? Okay, I'm glad you think that.
Yeah. Yeah. So they know, they don't want to blow these leads. And it's such a semantical deal. You know what I mean? Like, these teams, in the Big 12, they're really great. So anytime they're down 17, they're not going to feel like they're out of the game. They're going to do everything they can to scratch and claw back into it. You're probably going to get a tougher form of that team than you get if the game was a 5-point game where you were down by 5. So you have to look at that. Houston's going to have the home crowd behind them, and obviously they're going to have the advantage there. But if you can find a way to get them disrupted again, like they did in the first half in Ames, that's going to be the key to this one. And also, someone brought up in the comments that Milan has got to make some shots tonight, and I completely agree with that assertion.
Yeah, I wouldn't have used the word semantical. I think you were digging.
I was going for it. It's semantics to argue that, but I just changed it into.
You were reaching. That's okay. That's
totally
okay.
Was.
That's okay. Good for you. I think Milan, we saw his ability to pivot inside and get a layup and reverse layup against Tech. I think that was big to see that. Another trick he's got in the bag, another skill he's got in the bag, and this seems like a game. Houston's going to go on runs, whether it be their defense creating offense in transition, or whether it be the defense getting a bunch of stops. And if they go on an 8-0, 10-0 run on the other end, then boy, you need someone like Milan to quell that. And he's been good at it. Curtis Jones has been good at that too. Keyshawn was tremendous last game with, what was it, 24, 8, and 6, something in that realm.
I think it got up to 25 because they kept fouling him at the end. They were like, "Here, let's get him to 30."
Yeah, well, they wanted to hit a few more threes. They wanted to get their percentage up, and that's another reason why it was an 8-point game. I mean, they just we foul, we hit 1 or 2, usually 2 free throws late in the game at least, and we'll hit a 3. We hit a 3. We hit a 3. I mean, that was a pretty lopsided game, really. But kudos to Tech for hitting a bunch of threes late. But yeah, this is a game where you need him. You need all the shot makers to be able to stem the tide when Houston's on a roll, and they'll be on the roll multiple times, and you just can't let that extend 4, 5, 6 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did read a stat from Fran Fraschilla. Houston leads the country in getting out to 10-0 runs. They're 28. They've had 28 10-0 runs. I forget the basketball term for it. I don't know why. I've been watching race cars for the past 3.5 hours, and no one calls me on vocabulary on the race car beat, Rob, just so you know. But Iowa State has 23 of their own, and that's how they got out against Houston at Hilton Coliseum. If not saying like for sure either way here. Oh, shoot. But if Iowa State can make sure Houston doesn't do that to them, and they maybe get one of those themselves, completely changes the tide of this game and could be the key to winning it and controlling your destiny the rest of the way in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, two elite defensive teams are going to be teams, and I mean, Houston is 16 rated Ken Palm offense. I last I checked, Iowa State was 44. It might have gone up a tiny bit. The only team in the top 18, I think, that isn't top 20-ish or better offensively. But Iowa State's defense is so good, and it turns into offense at a rate that few teams, maybe Houston, can match. So hence, these are two of the teams that are best at getting out to 10-0 runs or larger. And I think we'll see some of those this game. I think we'll see some momentum swings. But I think Iowa State's skilled enough that if it gets down, it can fight its way back. And Houston, of course, is really good. They proved it in Ames where they got down 14-0, as you said, hung around a bit and then came back and actually took the lead and made it a slugfest all the way to the end. But I feel sorry for the officials tonight. I know Bloom said in Williams and Bloom, this is a really good crew. That's good for them because it's going to be hard because both these teams want to knock the stuffing out of the opponent and not only make them uncomfortable, make them want to leave the court. So it's going to be interesting. Probably a lot of whistles. So good Iowa State through shooting team better show up versus it seems like every other game it's kind of up in the air.
I like the Thanksgiving reference, Rob.
Oh yeah,
it's very good on another holiday like this.
I didn't know I made a Thanksgiving reference.
Well, it's just stuffing.
I'm just the stuffing, It's like
So one last thing before we go, standings wise, obviously we've talked about what happens if Iowa State wins. If they lose this game, Houston still has two really tough ones, a road matchup with Baylor. Kansas also comes to their place at the end of the year. It's not over if Iowa State loses this, so don't believe that for a second, especially if Kansas goes on a run here. Iowa State holds that tiebreaker, and if Houston and Iowa State tied at the top, I believe if the rules haven't changed, and they might have with the extra teams in the conference, I believe that goes to your record against the third team. So yeah, like essentially Iowa State fans would be cheering for Kansas the rest of the way, but too early to tell. A lot of games to go, but a big showcase coming out here tonight. You ready to go?
Yeah, and we'll be monitoring it, and like you said, no matter what, on paper at least, if they lose this and they come back and they tie Houston, on paper they can certainly claim to be Big 12 regular season champions, whether there's a tiebreaker or not. So I mean, a lot to play for, a lot to look forward to. Got to get the gloves up tonight and see which guys produce the most body blows and are able to block the most as well.
For sure. All right, we're gonna let you guys go. Tune into the game on ESPN. Starts at 8:00 p.m. Central Time. It's gonna be a good one. Gonna be a fun one, hopefully. So we won't see you after the broadcast. Rob will, along with Chris Williams. So thanks again for tuning in, everyone, and thanks again to the ISU Foundation and the Iowa Clinic. This pregame show is brought to you by those guys.